Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zain. Today we're going to be talking about Nokia, NOK. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help the channel grow, subscribe and leave notifications on, and let's jump right into this one. So I've broken this video into multiple parts. I've broken it into due diligence, a quick overview, and then a technical analysis. Now, let's move on forward. Nokia. It's a brand name that has been there for quite a while. I even grew up remembering this phone or this kind of brands as a phone brand, but it's a lot more than that. And if you've ever been in the market for trading in the market for the last week or so, you've of course heard Nokia being a part of the short squeeze move. But a bigger part of this one is the 5G run. And some people know it as a 5G, some people thinking it's a short squeeze, but it's not really a short squeeze. It's mainly regarding the 5G part and their capabilities and the research in the 5G as it rolls out. And so that is mainly what I'm going to be covering today. Their 5G plans, their 5G reports, their 5G future, the research they've done, the number of patents, the quality, etc. So if you were to go just into the newsroom, you're able to see hundreds of articles regarding Nokia featured news and things whether related to 5G or just general. Now, the biggest part here is their fourth quarter of 2020 is going to be up on 4th of February, and it will review the recent filings for 10Qs that compare to this one here. So I'm not going to go diving deep into the articles, but they did release one on the 27th when the stock was surging almost I think a little bit short of $10. They said Nokia is issuing this stock exchange release to comment on recent trading activity of its stock. Nokia is not aware of any material undisclosed corporate developments or material change in its business or affairs that has been publicly disclosed that would account for the recent increase in the market price or trading volume of its shares. So, quick thing, we already know that on the fourth quarter, we have February 4th, 2021. That will be the results for the fourth quarter. For the first quarter of 2021, it'll be April 29, 2021, and we have basically the next earnings mapped out. Now, featured topics, if you're to go on, I do recommend that you do check Nokia Bell Labs. That has a lot of amount of research, especially for 5G, and even including featured topics for 6G. And so I do like the research part and their basically standards they're putting up. So if we are to go to the Bell Lab, www.bell-labs.com/industry-leadership, if you were to scroll all the way down, you get to see basically a couple of things. The standards of research and leadership for 5G and their IPR leadership, etc. And if we were to go, I'm going to zoom in just here. Yep, this will do. So for the 5G, Nokia Bell Labs has about 3,800 patents, families declared essential to cellular standards, including more than 3,500 families for 5G. Now, in my books, that's a game changer. So the roadmaps to 5G is realizing the full promise of 5G through 3GPP evolution. Rome wasn't built in a day, and 5G evolves from a strong Rel 15 base. And so the anticipation is, okay, we have the R15, I think we are in R6, I think we're almost in R17, and the next expansion for this one is the R18, and that is towards the full 5G vision. And there's a lot more information that we can go regarding 5G as well as their plans, and we'll start dabbling around with it. So a bit of the quick things here is for enabling release for 15 initial deployments. It's the LDPC channel coding, which is basically their inventions for low density particle check, LDPC, coding reliable and particle for real world communications. LDPC is an essential component for efficient and reliable transmission. You got your 5G radio stack design, and that is the invented 5G numerology or simplified LTE plus 5G implementation. Massive MIMO. They pioneered MIO in 1995 and extended the concept with multi-user MIMO IO, massive MIO through its adoption of 5G standards, common data layers, stateless net functions, mobile edge computing, accesses agnostic core, and MMWware or MMware. And then you have that's for the 15 initial release. And then we go towards the 16, which is a 5G unlicensed spectrum, and then private networks and industrial IoT, and then the 17 enablers. NR Lite, which was basically the medium rate sensors, and then enhanced industrial IoT and automation for diverse networks. And then of course you have your R18 that is still not envisioned yet, of course. Now moving on, let's take a quick look into Nokia's Smart C port, just to kind of get an overview a little about what they have there planned. So 5G Smart C port. So basically, and I'm trying to actually see if there's any possible way I can actually enhance this one here, but let's do our best with this. Thinking I can open it. Yep, there we go. All right, right on here. So an average round trip for the latencies for central deployments for single connectivity, it improves that by around double. So in general, the figure above shows some of the important results from test beds. I think it's this figure here. Round trips from data centers to user terminal and return measured in milliseconds. The average latency measured over a period of 12 hours. All latencies have been measured all over the same period of time, and we can see improvements in latencies with 5G. In the conclusion of this report, and I know I didn't dive through deeply because I don't think we need to, the 5G partnership between Nokia and the Dutch Telecom and the Hamburg Port Authority is a prime example of countless possibilities offered by 5G to enable the digital transformation for the most complex industrial environments. As shown in the test bed results, network slicing is required to support a large variety of strategic use cases. So we get to see improvements there for their use on the C port. Now another one here is Nokia has also an industrial factory floor for 5G trial, for 4.0 trial, and the trial follows increasing demand for wireless communication at manufacturing sites driven by the need for stable connectivity between IoT devices. The next is the 5G connectivity leverage to prove the feasibility of layout-free production line with the autonomous mobile robots, AMRs, as well as real-time coaching using AI over IoT. Next is their patents by numbers. They have around 129 billion euros invested in research and development over the last 2 decades, including $4.4 billion billion euros in 2019 alone. They have around 20,000 patent families, with around more than 1,300 patents filed on new inventions in 2019 alone. Declared cellular standard essential parts, that's 3,800 plus. More than 3,500 patents families declared essential to 5G, with more to follow, and around 200 patent licenses across all programs, including most major smartphone vendors and many automotive brands. And so you get basically the point. Their 5G capabilities is insane. Now the next thing, well, that was a wrong website, but the next thing here is if you were to go towards the open ecosystem network. There's a bunch of things here that is interesting about how they're attempting to almost change the world in that sense with their 5G networks and their connectivities, but I'll pivot away from there. Nokia just literally got an upgrade recently, and their upgrade was based on their previous earnings and Ericsson's earnings previously. So that was Ericsson's last week, and that optimism has spread to Nokia, especially with the earnings that I'll show you in a second that has been consistent in recent years. And DNB Markets upgraded Nokia from 4 to 480. Now, of course, it jumped from 4 to 5 last week, but we'll dive into that in a second. Now, I've seen a lot of this one here about things circulating about the short squeeze on this one. Now, Fintel.io gives you 14.8% short interest on this, while Fintel gives you around 1.11. So I don't think a short squeeze is the thing to play here. I think investing is a lot smarter. Now, if we were to go towards institutional buyers, right on here, we get to see that one of the last names that have actually gone through and invested into this one is BlackRock, with around 6% off the ownership in there. Institutional buyers have been a little bit mixed on this one. You do expect some of them to lower their positions because of the massive jump. But generally, it looks like the institutional buyers have been very bullish, adding on and adding on as we go. Now, the next thing we want to cover here is their recent 6K here, which basically, as I did mention, that basically they're mentioning they don't have any information about of the market activity going on. Next is their statistics. Their price over book is actually quite comparable. 1.57 is not bad at all. SP 500 is between 2 and 3. So in a sense, for a 5G, I think it's a little bit underpriced or on a discount compared to SP 500. Now, in the last few years, the revenues have been improving. Take a quick look on 2017 to 2018 to 2019. You see the difference? You're moving in. This one was negative 1.5 billion euros loss. 2018, only 340 million euros. Next, $7 million in 7 million euros in profit. Sorry, I'm used to dollars. Next, in the first quarter of 2020, yeah, it took a hit, but take a look in how it's shaping up so far from quarter 2 to quarter 3. We've seen almost double. So my expectations, especially since last year at the end of the year, their quarter was really good. I expect the next earnings to be somewhat bullish. Now, balance sheet wise, loading here, just give it a second here. Balance sheet wise, I am comfortable that their book value does represent a balanced price point for at least the time to come in the future. In a sense, we're seeing an improvement, generally speaking, towards the income, the general revenue. And then next, what we want to look at is their balance sheet, because that is also important for us. We want to know how float they are. Cash has been somewhat decreasing as we go forward, but their total assets have been somewhat stable around 39 billion euros. Their liabilities have been as well stagnant. So balance sheet, they are set as you go. It doesn't look like they're decreasing in that sense. Their total current assets, currently speaking, has been as well stagnant again in the quarter perspective and their total liabilities. So overall, of course, they are a solid company. Now, remember, this is not your typical $4 to $5 company. It's not a penny stock. You know why? Take a look. Well, technically, in all technicality, yeah, a penny stock below $5, but a market cap of around $28.93 billion. It's not a small cap. It's just a massive, massive float. So now on to our technical analysis. If you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe, leave notifications on. It helps my channel quite a lot. It helps position myself in the algorithms in a better standard. Now, on a 1 week perspective, things are looking really bullish. The ADX shows in a potential trend here. You get to see that the price point has spiked. Of course, the 1 week perspective is a little bit sluggish, so we need to look into a 1 day. On a 1 day, 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA. The technical indicators seem to indicate that it still has a bit more of a run. Today, the 50 SMA crosses the 200 SMA right on point, and that's a golden cross. That's a really good bullish move. MACD is retracting a little bit from the 979, but it's still stabilizing from where you're looking at from 420 to around 480. The price target that was given an upgrade has already been reached. We need to look a little bit onto a 2-hour perspective. It's looking like it's trading sideways and accumulating, and that's a good thing. So, as you get to see, I didn't really spend so much time on that sense. But the moving average, you expect for this one to trade 478 on the top, 435 in the middle, and 391 on the bottom. Stochastic fast and stochastic slow are both showing that there is a potential pullback on this one, and we need to be very careful. Now, supports and resistances, there's a current support at 477 given by the Fibonacci retracements. Resistance 573, 651, 728, 839, and 980. Now, significant supports in general and resistances based on the last 5 years. So we're just going to push this one a little bit further. There we go. There is a significant support line at the 453 line. So you need it to stay above there. Above there, 426. Above there, 398. Above there, 370, 339, 321, 290. Significant resistances, we're looking at a few. Initially, 485. $5, 514, 531, 544, 564, 587, and then 623. Now it comes to the question to Ed, what do you think about this one? Now, generally speaking, Nokia in general, if you were to look at the average returns in the last few years, unless you bought in the March dip and got 234 and sent out $5, it usually is very low in volatility. And it usually trades within $4 to $6 and kind of accumulates around there. Now, that jump to 979 is a little bit of an anomaly. I'm not saying I don't like Nokia. I'm very bullish on Nokia, don't get me wrong. But I am saying to be careful of buying on massive jumps on Nokia. It is a good investment for the 5G perspectives. The patents are amazing. And once this kind of gets a little bit of an understanding from others about the amount of patents they have, their Nokia technology, and as we progress further into 5G, after this hype thing goes away, I think Nokia is here to stay. It has been here for a while. It has been a massive competitor, even for names like Apple to start. Apple and Nokia at some point were actually considered competitors. And that is massive. But that was, of course, on the mobile technology scale. In general, I'm very bullish. I'm just going to be saying that if you would like to invest right now, just make sure that the price point stays above 450. If it does go below, that might be your cue to sell out a little. Significant resistance of 514. Anything above 669 in the next week might be a little bit of a stretch, just because that is a very much of a historic resistance. Don't take this one as a short squeeze, take it as an investment, because the short's interest is only somewhere around 11%. That's if you don't consider FinViz 1%. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help this channel grow, subscribe and notifications on, and have a wonderful day.